Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a top 16 breakdown for the online Fusion World tournament that I ran this past weekend. It was 96 players, and it has this top 16 that we see here today. And a couple of quick things before we get started. First, if you guys are new to the channel and you like this content, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Just means that you guys are interested in it. I should be making more of it in the future. And then also, just big shouts to everyone who showed up for this tournament. It was a little bit newer since it was using the online client instead of webcam, so I appreciate everyone's patience and flexibility for that. I think it went really well, and I'm excited for the next one that we're hosting. And then also, we did live stream it on my YouTube as well as on my Twitch, which is going to be linked in the description, and it will be re-uploaded to here on YouTube for free for non-subscribers and non-members, so you guys can check that out. And then also big shout to Nico for being the co-commentator for me, as well as our judges of Brian Reed, as also Robert DeCoste. I would not be able to do this tournament without them, and I really appreciate them being flexible and helpful for that as well. So anyways, jumping on into it, as we said, it was 96 players, and we do have the live stream there. And if you guys want any of the top 16 deck lists, they're here on my website, but we do have 6 Friezas, with one of them winning the event, 3 Son Gohan Childhood, 3 Brolys, 2 Coolers, 1 Son Goku from the set, the U7 one, and then also 1 copy of Beerus. So honestly, a little bit more yellow than I think people would be expecting. I personally have been really liking playing Frieza and Cooler as I've been grinding in God rank recently, but I didn't think it was going to be as successful as it was today. And if we look at the leader breakdown, so of the 96 people who played, Frieza was also the most popular, followed with Gohan and Broly. And then also, we had Beerus as the 4th most popular, but only 1 made it into the top 16. And then also kind of the same thing with Goku with the set one. These were like popular in like the top 5 that people brought, but they didn't, they barely made it into this top 16. Meanwhile, 5 people brought Cooler, and 2 of them made it into the top 16, which I think is pretty successful for it. And then we did have a couple of everything. We did actually have every leader in the game be brought, but with barely with 1 copy of Trunks Future into it. But I think it's pretty clear that green and yellow are the pretty good colors in this game. They're the most represented, and they're doing the best in the top 16s. Red's the next one down, and I don't know. Is blue the worst color in the game? I know blue can still win. Don't get me wrong, but it's looking like blue is definitely the one that needs a little bit more help compared to the other ones too. So anyways, we're going to go over the top placing list for each one of these leaders, starting off with our first place list, which is Joseph with their copy of Frieza. And again, I really do like this leader. I think he's very strong in a lot of ways. The amount of value that we go and get from it, I think, is great. The Ginyu and like the Ginyu package for this deck, I think, and yellow in general, I think is almost an auto include at this point. It just gets so much free advantage in so many ways. It's not difficult to get its point of getting, essentially 2 other Frieza armies out, because it counts itself for its on play effects. So I think it's just great. It's just a free 20k swing, or it's a 5k counter in hand, so you're not really losing out on anything. You can play it off the Raccoon, which this also is a self-awakener, so being able to do, like, if you're at 6 life, you're using Raccoon, and if you have like another 1-drop out to play Ginyu, and then after that playing either like a 2-drop Knees or another Frieza, I think helps the deck out a lot. This deck doesn't run as much self-awakening as it can be running. We're only running 10 cards with the Raccoon. You could be running 6 with an additional 4 with the Zarbon, but we're ended up doing the Kui instead, which I do like this against green. It's when KO'd, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and switch to rest mode, means that like 8-drop Broly or 6-drop Aandroidd, 17, 18, they just can't be played. If they play, you get the immediate rest on them, which is kind of nice, which I think is helpful. There's also the 1-drop Ginyu, which I'm personally not as big of a fan of, but it's not like a terrible card to choose for this deck. You do, get a lot of advantage by, once you're awakened, you can tap this card, draw a card, and then untap it at the end of the turn. I just feel like I don't really have the time to play it all the time, which is my only issue. But it is nice. I don't think it's the worst card. I just don't personally like it as much. I like Zarbon a little bit more, even though you only get the 1 search, and the fact that the cards that you get are, they're only Friezas, which we're not running too many right now. We're running enough that we can whiff every once in a while, I guess is what I'm saying, even though we are running, I think, like 15 copies of it. But I do get like why Ginyu is like the better searcher, even though you do have to rest it, so you do lose like the 5k combo you would have gone with it anyways. So other than that, I think the standard build from it, top end of Cooler Frieza and Golden Frieza, and then a couple copies of Supernova. I think some people play the deck without any extra cards, which I think is fine too, but Supernova's probably the best one to run if you're running any at all. So that's the list here, and congratulations to Joseph for their first place finish there. Next up, we have our second place, which is Eric with Gohan here. And I think Gohan getting second isn't too surprising for a lot of people. A lot of people are on the deck for this one. We are running the general package. I think it's pretty clear what cards are good in green in the first place. We have our one drop Goku and Gohan. We're playing 4 copies of this Android 18, which I do like this card. It's not too difficult to play it on 2 if you're going first, just to get some additional cycle and making sure that we're finding the cards that we need to. And then even like mid to late game, getting like an additional draw off a 20k swing is really great. It's great against pretty much every deck that's not Broly. And even against Broly, you can just draw a card that's a 5k and then combo with it to get the free pressure for it. So I like the card. I think some people need to get some turning around for it. Trunks Future also just like another 2-drop that helps clean up the early board and is also a 10k, which is kind of good. 4-drop Vegeta, which is a card I think I was super wrong. Like a couple weeks ago, I thought it was just okay. It is probably the green super rare you need the most from this set. 17, 18, and Android 18 itself are just kind of okay, but you do need 100% for these in this deck because you do want to make sure that you get your ramp, and getting rid of a 2 cost is more valuable than I thought it was as well. So Vegeta's good. I don't think you guys didn't know that, but just in case you didn't. And then we're playing the 17-18, 3 copies of the 6-drop Son Gohan, and then our big 8-drop Broly. So no copies of the secret rare, which I think if you're playing it, you play it at 1 copy, maybe 2, definitely no more than 2, but the card I think is a little bit slow at times. Getting the board clear is really nice, but it just means that your opponent can probably attack with leader for game anyways if you made it to that point. So I do like the idea that you can heal with Son Gohan Childhood. I like the 17-18 as well. Being able to get like double strike pressure is great. And then obviously the 8-drop is probably the most powerful card in the game, which is not too terribly hard to get to in green since we do have that additional ramp. So other than that, 4 gigantic meteors, 4 destructive strength, nothing too surprising in the list here. So congratulations to Eric for their second place finish. Next up, we have Cooler, which is one of my favorite decks, and this is very similar to the build that I used to get to God. There are some key differences with it, but I do like what this build looks like. We talked about it with the Frieza deck as well, but the Ginyu package is just so strong for this deck, especially since I think Cooler is more aggressive of the 2 of them. Being able to, it's not difficult to like play Frieza on 2 and then keep it around, play Ginyu, Raccoon into Ginyu, and then playing like a Zarbon. So you just take like 3 cards from your life. You make sure you're awakened as soon as possible, since you do want to be awakened very quickly with Cooler, because then you get to do a 40k twice with this Frieza super rare, which I think this card is okay in Frieza, but in Cooler you need 4 copies of it. It's like the best card in the deck to be able to use your leader effect from, and your opponent's going to have a really hard time getting out of these 40k swings that this gets to you. So I think it's strong for it as well. Only difference I would say that my build is that I do play the 3-drop Frieza and 4 copies of the 1-drop, mostly because of we don't want to miss with Zarbon, but also the 3-drop Frieza is really good like if you're playing against Broly and you just want like a good card with pressure. So I do like that idea for the deck. Otherwise, I think it's just okay. So but that just helps out the deck, helps out your plays a little bit, and makes it kind of nice. So that was kind of my plan for my builds with it. Golden Frieza at the top end's good. 4 coolers might be a little bit excessive because I don't feel like it does a lot against green specifically. It's good against red and yellow, like the mirror match. So that can help you with those matchups a little bit. But 4, I would probably run it at 3 at max, not 4. And then Supernova, this card's crazy in this deck, especially since you can, for free, get an energy open by discarding a card, which means that it is only activate battle on your own turn, but it's not too terrible to like swing with a 40k Frieza and then, you know, attack with your leader, use the effect, pitch a card, and then use the Supernova to freeze something and also have another 40k swing with your leader as well. So that's the build for this one, and congratulations to Hamza for their finish there. Next up, we have Chance with Broly, and I really do like Broly in this game. I think it's probably the most powerful green deck in my opinion, just because it does have like the ramp in it, and then also has ways to just get to 8 very quickly. But also being a 25k leader kind of changes the dynamic against Broly specifically compared to everything else. So I think that does kind of again change how this deck kind of works. The Son Gohan, like the low package, like the good cards in green are pretty understood, right? there's only like a couple of changes that we made for this one compared to what we saw for Eric's Green Gohan. They are playing one copy of the Sun Gohan Childhood, which I do think is a little bit more makes sense a little bit more in Broly when we get to 7 a little bit quicker, and we are a little bit more dependent on clearing their boards. And then we do have a couple more extra cards using the Instant Kamehameha and the Big Bang Attack. They're not playing the MOA 1-drop, which with these cards that we have, I wouldn't be too upset to play that card. But since they're playing the Trunks Future instead of like the Paragus, you do have like a little bit less cards to search, but I do like that card for the deck. Otherwise, we kind of know what Broly looks like. It's pretty understood. It's very strong in a lot of ways, and I don't think that's going to change within this set either. So this is Chance's version of Broly. And then we have 2 red decks for you guys. We have Mickaël with their 9th place copy of U7 Goku, which this is for the record, this is the one from the set. This is the one get +5 to all your U7 cards. This deck is really good at putting a lot of pressure, and I do think it can have a chance against Broly because it is able to put out a good amount of 25k power bodies pretty quickly. We are playing like the Android 18 package, which I personally like for this deck. Being able to use this to find a Krillin or Android 17 is good, especially since we have so many of these Krillins and Android 17s. That one, they're all 10k, but also they do help you self-awaken with this Android 17 and this Krillin. This 4-cost one also does get a good amount of value. It's great for removing cards. It is a 15k body, so you kind of need to play it only in U7 Goku to make it a 20k, or I guess the star deck can do it too, but being able to play this guy, get rid of something, and put a 20k swing on the board is cool. It's a little bit slow at times, but if you need to get rid of something, you can do it. Hit's probably one of the best cards in red, if not the best, because it's self-awakening and gets rid of your opponent's 1-drops from the previous turn, and then just our top end of 4 Gokus, 1 Beerus, and the Shin. So no copies of no 1-drop Roshis, which is a little silly, or not silly, but surprising for me, because I think that's an auto-include, but in a deck that I don't think needs as much cycle, I guess that makes sense. But no extra cards either, because I know a lot of people play a couple copies of Universe 7 representative, so or Universe 7 Assemble rather. But this is an interesting build. I'll probably have to try it out because I haven't played a lot of red on the online client myself. And congratulations to Mickaël for their top 16 finish. And then our last one, we have James with Beerus. And Beerus is a deck I really want to like, and I've been doing some testing with it. But man, sometimes I feel like you just lose, but other times I feel like you just win. You do have like the best removal in the game with this leader. Being able to get -10 on the backside is really good. And then just kind of all your removal cards that you get. Like the hit is fantastic. The fact that like this Fua here gives -15k, which gets rid of most things, including, if you put it with your leader ability, you get -25. Being able to like put 30ks in range of your Son Goku is fantastic for this leader too. I think that's really helpful. You get some good plays with the Son Goku 4-drop. Being able to use this to pressure something down, and like you can give it -25 with the leader, so if you have like a 30k, you not only can attack into it, but then you get to do life damage, which is really good. And then our top end of 2 of the Son Gokus, and then the Beerus, which I don't know how I feel about this card still. It's really good against yellow, but not much else. I don't think green plays enough bodies for this to be worth it in its own way. It is a 35k critical, which is kind of nice in its own way, but it's maybe a little bit too costly, and the fact that it doesn't have counter or combo power makes me a little bit wary for it, but that's kind of how it is. So other than that, we are playing a good amount of vanillas, which I don't think is wrong in this deck. You want to be able to play bodies that your opponent's going to have a hard time getting rid of, and having that extra 10k combo helps you a lot. We also have 2 copies of Mafuba, which I do want to like this card. It does trade pretty equally with a lot of stuff, but it's also kind of rough in hand at times, especially if you're trying to go for game. So I haven't fully committed to it, but I do think it's a really tempting card to run, especially since we're already playing the 1-drop Roshi. So anyways, this is the build here, and congratulations to James for their finish. But that's going to be it for this one. Again, if you want any of these deck lists, they're here on my website, along with a lot of other events and deck lists that I've been collecting for events that have been happening. And again, I do want to say big shout out to everyone who joined this event. It was a big success, and I'm looking forward to another one in another week or so. And I think that's going to be it for me. So that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.